Well, I'm sure that after Red was up here, you can imagine what sitting in a duck blind with Red is like for 4 or 5 hours. And sometimes I even get 2 words in. But I want to thank just everyone for being here. It's a special night. Hope I don't cry. Probably will. You know me, I'm just a general softie. Couldn't hold it together at the final team meeting, and probably can't hold it together tonight, but thank you. It wasn't just all about me. It was always all about you. It is tonight, and it always will be. I get to stand up here tonight and accept all the awards. But if it hadn't been for you, it would have never happened. And I thank you from the bottom of my heart. To all of you, all the athletes, you're awesome. I want to thank Tom Ford and the organizing committee, Matt Monroe, Cynthia, Avery, Bridget Sullivan, Dominic Pinos, Bridget, the Marriott. Special shout out to Erica Bowling, who takes the face of Northridge Track and Field on Facebook and keeps everything going there. To my family, my wife Carolyn, her parents, Alan and Joanne, who are here tonight, my daughter Monica and her husband Tim, who provided me with 3 beautiful grandchildren, stepson Chris, stepdaughter Nancy, and her husband Gavin, with the 2 beautiful young grandchildren that we talked about earlier. My brothers and sisters-in-law, Alan and Teresa Weberly, Jeff and Kim Weberly, Joe and Laurel Lynn, Roy and Valerie Fott, and the newest members of the extended family, Alex and Jill Stelnick. Thank you for being here. Stepson Tim and Lisa are on their honeymoon in St. Lucia right now. I wish I could be there with them. My nieces and my nephews, Sean Fott, who's a promising high school runner, Abby Lynn, who will be playing softball here at Northridge next year, Hallie Lynn, who was my dance partner at Tim's wedding, Tiana Weberly, Northridge school record holder in the pole vault right now for women, jumping over 13 feet this year. Baseball player next year at Northridge, Ryan Weberly, and Melina Weberly, my other dance partner from the wedding. Thank you for being here. My 2 special hunting brothers that I have been with for over the last 10 years, Steve Alva and his wife Lori, and Paul Easley and his wife Lori. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I want to thank the University administration, Tom Karen, William Watkins. William and I go back a long ways, from the time that he was at Washington and I was at Locke. And there's this very special connection that we have from that time that we were together back then and knew each other a long time ago. To Greg Beesing, Vance Peterson, faculty athletic representative Tina Kiesler, the athletic administration, Rick and Ashley and Janet, thank you so much for everything, for putting up with me. And fellow head coaches that are here tonight, Gary Victor, Jim Bracken, Keith West, Director of Baseball Operations, Tom Hutchison, assistant coaches Ainsley Sutflo and Juan Placencia, former assistant coaches that came back tonight. Just named the associate head coach at the University of Tennessee, John Frazier. Thank you, John. From USC, Dan Lang. And Jeff McCauley's in the crowd. Where's Macaulay? Jeff and Brian Marston, back from the early years. Special story about Brian. We were in the Big Sky, and we were up at a meet in Idaho. And in fact, we were in Pocatello. And first night of a conference meet always goes very late. It was probably about 10:30, 11 o'clock when we were out at a restaurant trying to get dinner. And Brian made his order, and the gal asked him, well, what else would you like with that? And he said, well, I'd love to have a potato. And she said, well, I'm sorry, we're out of potatoes. And the most famous quote, we are in Idaho. How can we be out of potatoes? I'll always remember that, Brian. That was great. Just great. I want to thank Avery for all the work he's done, Bridget for all the work you've done, and everything that you've meant to me the last few years, and for helping out. And I just wish you all the luck. You know I'm in your corner all the way, and making this continue to happen. So there's some people here that very seldom get the credit that they deserve for the work that they do for the track and field program. Mark Adamek, where are you, Mark? Thank you, buddy, for all your help, your preparation, everything you're doing. Howard Garcia, such a pleasure to be able to come to a home meet and not have to worry about moving 500 hurdles across the track and doing all the other things that we had to do, because Howard takes care of everything. And a special shout out to our trainer this year, who's just been absolutely awesome for us, Brittany Duckworth. Where are you, Brittany? Thank you so much. The office staff, Angelique Odom. Where are you, Angelique? There you go. Joyce Stanley, Cynthia Morgan, Leanna Berkland, that whole group. Where is everybody? Thank you so much. I think, Joyce handles all the claims that I turn in, and I think that she and the Chase Bank have an agreement that every time I turn in a claim, she always says, well, you owe 1 cent more. Or you have to rewrite the check, it's 23 cents off or something like that. So I really think they work together. But I have to get through that. Media guide layout and pictures, Braden Villanueva. Where are you, Braden? Thank you so much for all the work you've done all the years. Matt Monroe for all the sports information help that you've given us throughout the years and being there for us. There are some officials here tonight from the Track and Field, USA Track and Field Association, that have really meant various things to me over the years. Jerry Reedy, our current commissioner who handles all the officials, responsible for the 2004 and 2008 NC2A regionals at Northridge. Jerry, where are you? Thank you so much. Jerry is over here. Alan Amundsen, lead official there in 2004, who has been with me for I don't know how many years, going way back. Thank you so much. And then also a gentleman that I had the experience to actually coach against back in 1974, my first year coaching track at Locke. He was at Carson High School. He's now become one of the premier starters. A great personal friend, a mentor to me when I first started coaching. Just a great guy. Saul Pacheco. Where are you, Saul? I don't know if Mike Daniels made it from the Big West office, but Mike's been very helpful throughout the years. The former coaches that are here, like Nick Garcia, Eric Newman, Brian Gotze, Andrea Gotze, Letitia Dixon, Mike Smith, Rashad Dixon, Francis Santine, Fernando Fernandez, Leo Hernandez. I mean, practically half the valley is being coached by former Northridge track and field athletes. It's great. There's one gentleman that falls in that category that I need to recognize tonight. I was blessed to be honored at the Mount Sac Hall of Fame this year. And they have a a race on Saturday in which they have a bunch of blind athletes run the race. And one of the people that was helping the person down the track run exactly with that person all the way, and a young man who just has touched me in so many ways, for when he was at Northridge and for what he did that Saturday. Wes Williams, wherever he was. There's a couple men in the audience who do not fit in any category that I want to talk about, so I need to bring them up. One is a professor here at Northridge. He served on several committees with me. He provided me a voice of the faculty, a voice that I listened to very well and very clearly. He would talk about faculty concerns and his own concerns about athletes and graduation and their well-being. I learned a lot from this man about how to, shall we say, negotiate, or how to make my athletes understand that what the faculty was trying to do. Herman Du Bois, where are you? Thank you so much for everything. And then, you know, the crazy guy that got up here a little while ago and shot the gun and everything else. Red Estes, you the man. You need to understand that Fresno State and Northridge on the track, I don't think we liked each other too much. That was probably an understatement. I can remember it was almost 12 or 14 straight dual meet years that it was crazy. It was either at Northridge or at Fresno, but every meet seemed like it came down to the mile relay. One year, it was decided by the men's 800, the third place finish, and they had to take it out to the thousands, which is about an eyelid, maybe, difference. I mean, it was unbelievable competitive. But what you don't know about Red and the person that, the way he believed in track and field, the way that he coached his team, it was an honor to go up against that man. 1991, 1992, 6 of us drove to Catalina City for 2 straight years, met for 3 to 4 hours a day in a little restaurant, and that's how Cal, Nevada, the Cal, Nevada Track and Field Meet came about. And Red was one of the big parts of that. Thank you, Red.
Thank you, guys.
If Red hadn't believed in regionals, we would have never hosted in 2004 and 2008, because he was the guiding spirit behind the West Coast in pushing the regional concept to the NC2A and the eventual acceptance of the NC2A regional format that we are in today. And little secret out here, gang, that administration, they're talking about going back to the old format, and I think they want to know if Northridge wants to host again in the future. So that's a couple years away, but the existing format now is going to change. So, Red, again, Northridge thanks you for everything you've done for track and field, and I thank you as my friend for everything you've done for me. Appreciate it. We talk about mentors, and there's 2 of them here who were my mentors. One, Dr. Barbara Sorkus. She was up here earlier. She talked about, she was the original head coach of the women's program. She produced 3 AIAW national championships in 78, 79, and 80. That's like winning NC2A Division I. She taught me a lot about the university. She helped me understand, while serving on committees, how to approach faculty, how to deal with central administration, how to make what we needed as a track and field program happen. I owe a lot of my success to Dr. Barbara Serkis. Thank you. And the other one is, my mentor was Dr. Jim Septon. And Jim, I can never thank you enough for everything you taught me in my first 10 years there at Northridge. You established the rules for eligibility. You made it so clear the importance of the student-athlete experience and the classroom experience. You helped me prioritize what I needed to say to my student-athletes and help them to get an education. You left me with one of your sayings at probably the first or second time that I ever met you. And everybody knows Dr. Septon has things that are called docisms, D-O-C, and then I-S-M, things that only Doc Septon could say. And this is the one of the ones that has always stuck with me. And this, you said, was for someone who says his priority is track and field instead of his classes. Enjoying your priorities is a privilege which you earn by meeting your responsibilities. His academic tactics for varsity athletes that he gave me in 1979-80, we still use today and give to all our freshmen and junior college athletes. Dr. Jim, thank you. So, the beginning was at Locke High School. Yep, that's right, because some of the Locke people are here tonight. And I thank you so much for being here. Locke, I started at Locke in February of '69, right after the Watts riots. Locke was filled with years of some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows. But I will say this, once the same, always the same. And you know it back there. You had to be there. You had to be in that environment to understand. You had to know what it was like to be in the ghetto. First year that we took over that program, there were only 20 students out. 5 years later, we had 225 students out of 1,800 student body. In 1977, we created the Locke Invitational, which later on became the Alameda Relays. No inner city school had ever held an invitational. It was so important in the school that 85 faculty members came out that day and gave up their entire Saturday to make sure that that meet went on. An LAPD SWAT team worked on their off day to provide security. And it almost didn't happen. 3 days before the meet, the principal got cold feet and thought we were going to lose money. Called me in and said, "You're going to have to tell everybody not to come." So, me being Stram, me being who I am, I broke out the checkbook and wrote him a check, blank check, and said, "Here, whatever the meet loses, just fill in the amount." Thank heavens we didn't lose any money there. We had 3,500 people in the stands that day. Just an unbelievable feeling for the school and for the inner city. Back then I had a partner who coached with me. His name was Russ. And Russ was known as Pepper. And one of the nicknames that you didn't find, Barbara, was that I was known as Salt. Andre, I thought I was black in this scenario. I don't understand. So one night, everyone remembered Patty Hearst and the SLA Lebanese Army and everything, and they broke into that gun store in Inglewood. And, well, they were supposed to be holding up in Watts. And so went to a track meet on a Saturday night, came back, and we're by the front end of the school there. And we've got about 6 athletes. It's about 11 o'clock at night, still waiting for their parents to show up. And Russ is about 6'5" and 335, and he owns a Volkswagen. He took the back seat out so he could sit in the front seat and slide it back. That was my partner. So sheriff's unit kind of slinks on by us and kind of shines the light on us, and he looks at me and he says, you know, I gotta be one crazy guy to be sitting here with you when they're looking for white and black guys together down here. And 2 minutes later, here comes the squad cars, and I'm soon on the pavement, spread-eagled, begging for my life, and saying, those kids know me. And then the kid said, no, we don't know you. You should have seen that Monday morning workout. Oh, we had fun back then. We did have fun. That 78, 79 men's team is known as one of the top 3 dual meet times ever in the history of high school track and field, even to this day. And tonight, I'm just honored to have some of those people here. 2-time state champion in the 800, David Mapp. Northridge graduate, Retha Jones. And 3-time gold medalist in the 84 Olympics, Valerie Briscoe. So let's talk about Northridge, and let's talk about how close it was that I wasn't even standing here tonight. 1979, summer of 79, and a lot of you know I love to read the paper from the first page to the last page. I don't like the calendar section, but everything else I pretty much read every single day. Can't stand reading a book, sorry, but I love to read the paper. So that summer, I'm reading the Times, and there's a cross-country coach position at Cal State Northridge advertised in LA Times. So I call up Bill Webb, who was the coach at that time, and I interview, and I get the job, and I get a total pay of 1 unit. I think my first paycheck back then, what I got to take home was $87 for the month. It's a little bit better than that now, but that was pretty good back then. So I was hired. I was at Northridge that summer of 80, took over the women's program. Summer of 85, Northridge decided to move to a position of directorship of track and field. So I applied. And throughout the summer, through various court decisions that were going on at that time with the Bill Webb situation, Northridge did not name a coach. And then on Friday afternoon, this is Friday afternoon before school starts, and at 4:18, Sam Winningham calls me and offers me the job as Director of Track and Field at Associate Professorship, Step 4. Well, no Northridge coach has ever been promoted at this time, has ever been promoted from associate professor to a full professorship. That's like going from assistant coach position to a head coach coaching position. And that was meant I was going to a pretty good pay cut. So I declined the position and said to Sam, I'll encounter a full professorship, step 2. So I waited, and at 4:38, Sam calls back and offers me the position again at associate professorship, step 5. And I decline. And I say, full professorship, step 1, take it or leave it. Well, at 4:57, he still hasn't called, and I'm kind of wondering, did I do the right thing? And at 4:58, Sam called, offered me the position at full professorship, step 1. It was still a pay cut, but I was going to make that up pretty soon. So that was just, that's how close I came to not being here tonight, because I was not going to take the position otherwise. I miss Felix Jumenville tonight. Felix was supposed to be here, and 5 years ago when we had our other reunion, he brought the house down with his Northridge stories. So I miss Felix, but the people that paved the way back then in the early 60s, Coach Frank Carl is here. Where are you, Frank? You did so much for so many years. Back there in the middle, thanks, Frank. Athletes from the 60s and the early 70s, Joe McNair, Frank Nordyke are here. We thank you for being here. In the mid-70s, we had a coach here, a distance coach at the time by the name of Chris Johnson. And that's all I ever heard about, was how great Chris Johnson is. And Chris Johnson produced some of the all-time times, you can still go back and look on the best list that this school has ever had. And sitting at his table are NC2A champions and school record holders Ed Chadez, John Sutherland, Charlie Horn, Conrad Gonzalez. Where are you guys? Thank you. So I went through the list of everybody who was supposed to be here tonight, and I figured out how many school record holders there were in the crowd, and how many All-Americans, and how many NC2A champions there were in the crowd. And then as I walked through the door, I started seeing people and saying, they weren't on the list, they weren't on the list, they weren't on the list, but I'm sure glad they're here. So I had to go back and redo my counting, and there are 31 former school record holders here tonight. 31. Give yourself a hand. 62 NC2A All-Americans. 62 and 11 NC2A champions. So I got the job in '79. First cross-country team, my first years there, Sid Leibovich, Tim Mann, Mark Van Leeuwen, Lance Packard, John Ortega. John came all the way from Michigan. Thank you so much. You guys always remember. There's one special story out of that, and those of you who remember John Ortega, he's correct for the times when we had a valley section out here and used to cover track and field. And it was a very hot day. It was the regional championships, and we were supposed to be about 6th or 7th that day. And it was 95 degrees, and we were running the race of our life. 95 degrees to us, that was nothing. We trained when it was 112, 115 back then in the afternoons, did our morning runs on our own. A little bit different now, but the idea was there. So we were not supposed to advance, and but we're running phenomenal, and all of a sudden Robert Traba falls out with about 800 meters to go in the race, and I thought our chances were over. And then John Ortega came over the hill, and I yelled at John that he was a counter, that Traba had gone down, but he needed to pick up 5 people. And we all know that John Ortega, if you know John, he doesn't exactly have the fastest wheels for a 10,000 meter guy or cross-country guy. But he picked up not 5 guys, he picked up 6 guys, and we ended up going to nationals by 1 point, thanks to your thanks to you that day. I'll always remember. Early 80s, I took over the women's program. Some of the people that are here tonight from the early 80s that led that program, Carol Keller, Lita Whiteman Esposito, Lucia Rodriguez Stone, where are you three? I'm forever indebted to you guys. You set the foundation for what Northridge would be. Also during that time frame, I was coaching the men's sprinters and hurdlers besides coaching the distance runners. I was coaching a lot part-time back then, I guess. And a couple of the guys that are here tonight, Andre spoke earlier, but Steve Brody and Andre Hartgrove, school record holders, All-Americans, where are you guys? Always remember you. Brody came in my office 2 months ago and said, congratulations on your retirement. I said, I'm really excited about it and everything else like that. And he said, yeah, I'm going to retire too. And I said, what do you mean? You're one of my kids. What do you mean you're going to retire? And he says, no, 3 years from now, I'll be 55. I'm going to retire. It sunk in. I'm old. Definitely sunk in. I'll always remember that day. See, that was great. Back in the early 80s, we had, on both sides of the track, there were big hillsides. Remember that back then? Yeah, all you old timers remember those hillsides. And at about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, you could walk down the back stretch or the front stretch, and if you listened very carefully, you could hear the gophers munching on the grass. There were so many of them. It was just incredible. Well, you know that movie called Caddyshack? How many people saw Caddyshack? How many people know that we had our own Caddyshack person at Cal State Northridge? Mark Loomis, where are you, Mark Loomis? Where's Mark? There he is, right over there, Mark Loomis. Okay, so let me tell you the story about Mark and why I'm so glad he's here tonight. Back then we used to have a PPM person just for the track. It was awesome. A couple of years before that, we had a javelin thrower, by the name of Paul Kulak, stepped off the end of the runway into a gopher hole and about broke his ankle. That was right before NC2As and kind of goofed up what we were planning to happen that year. So Mark took it upon himself the next year to tackle the gopher program, out on the track. And so there's one day, and he's got hoses all over the track, and he's got water going everywhere, and he's trying to flush out all of these gophers. And on the far side of the track, the girl sprinters are doing block starts. And all of a sudden, I'm on this other side of the track, all of a sudden, all I hear is screaming. And the girl sprinters are running in every which direction. And I look up, and there's 4 or 5 gophers running right down the track towards down through the infield. And here's Mark Loomis with a shovel chasing. I'll always remember that day. And I was hoping that Dave Stevens would be here because, see, Red, your idea about me goofing up the shotgun, Dave Stevens, and I know Garrett knows this, Dave Stevens actually showed me how to spear a gopher with a javelin. You have to have a lot of patience because you have to be just on the other side so that your shadow didn't get there. Dave Stevens taught me how to do that. See, Tom, there were more things about my job than you actually thought. In the mid-'80s, greatest long jump